殺し続ける君が見つけてくれるまで。見つけたぞ。見つけてやるぞ。
On the islands of Cremona, a vigilante runs amok. Celebrated by some and haunted by others, the notorious Killer Bee takes justice into his own hands, armed with a sharp blade and superhuman abilities. Unable to apprehend this renegade, the Royal Investigation Service, RIS, calls upon the expertise of Keith Flick, a seasoned yet eccentric detective who was relegated to the Archives Department following a personal loss. As crimes in Cremona begin to escalate, from stealthy executions of wrongdoers to sophisticated strikes on public figures, it soon becomes clear that there is more than one person responsible. With the help of his impulsive sidekick Lily Hoshina and unexpected aid from an elusive Killer Bee himself, Keith begins to unravel plots involving secret organizations, domestic terrorism, and human experiments. When the involvement of the RIS extends beyond the scope of justice, the extent of the government's corruption, as well as the trustworthiness of close allies, are thrown into question.
タバコケース。トレードマーク忘れちゃダメじゃない。もらいタバコのジーン。
ACCA, a national body of the Kingdom of Dowa that provides public services to the citizens of the country, was established as part of the peace settlement between the King of Dowa and the 13 states of the country during a revolt. 100 years later, Dowa is in a period of unprecedented peace due in a part of the ACCA system. However, rumors of coup d'etat start to surface. Jean Otis, the second in command of the inspection department of ACCA, is charged with inspecting all 13 state branches. What will he discover as he performs his audit? Intriguing and mysterious, this politically themed mystery reveals a world of diverse cultures and lifestyles, with intricate connections between its characters as the truth of the coup d'etat slowly unfolds.
爆発するぞ。どうするつもりだ。決まってるだろ。川に落とす。
あんた誰？
どけ。
Daisuke Kanabe, a man of extraordinary wealth, is assigned to the Modern Crime Prevention headquarters as a detective. It is there that he gets partnered with Haru Kato, a human detective who values justice above all. The two are polar opposites and their morals clash time and time again. Haru despises Daisuke for using monetary wealth to solve cases, as he believes that money isn't everything. The two will have to combine their efforts, however, to solve the mysteries that are coming their way.
Tadama.
The infamous shonen bat Lil Slugger is terrorizing the residents of Musashino City. Flying around on his rollerblades and beating people down with a golden baseball bat, the assailant seems impossible to catch, much less understand. His first victim, the well-known yet timid character designer Tsuki Kosagi, is suspected of orchestrating the attacks. Believed only by her anthropomorphic pink-stuffed animal Maromi, Tsukihiko is just one of the shonen bat's many victims. As Shonen Bet continues his relentless assault on the town, detectives Keiichi Ikari and Mitsuhiro Maniwa begin to investigate the identity of the new attacker. However, more and more people fall victim to the notorious Golden Bat, and news of the assailant begins circulating around the town. Paranoia starts to set in as chilling rumors spread amongst adults and children alike. Will the two detectives be able to unravel the truth behind the Shonen Bet, or will the paranoia get to them first? The Mizuhanoma system is a highly advanced development that allows people to enter one of the most intriguing places in existence, the human mind. Through the use of a so-called cognition particles left behind at the crime scene by the perpetrator, detectives from the specialized police squad Kura can manifest a criminal's unconscious mind as a bizarre stream of thoughts in a virtual world. Their task is to explore their psychological plane called an ID well, to reveal the identity of the culprit. Not just anyone can enter the ID wells. The prerequisite is that you must have killed someone yourself. Such is the case for the former detective Akihito Narihisago, who is known as Sakaido inside the ID wells. Once a respected member of the police, tragedy struck and he soon finds himself on the other side of the law. Nevertheless, Narihisago continues to assist Kura in confinement. While his prodigious detective skills still prove useful towards investigations, Narihisago discovers that not everything is as it seems, as behind the seemingly standalone series of murder cases lurks a much more sinister truth.
こいつを使おう。組織が新開発した毒薬をな。まだ人間には試したことがない試作品らしいがな。あばよ、名探偵。おい、誰か死んでるぞ。なんだと。おい、しっかりしろ。立てるか、坊や。坊や。え
Shinichi Kudo, a high school student of astounding talent in detective work, is well known for having solved several challenging cases. One day, when Shinichi spots two suspicious men and decides to follow them, he inadvertently becomes witness to a disturbing illegal activity. Unfortunately, he is caught in the act, so the men dose him with an experimental drug formulated by their criminal organization, leaving him to his death. However, to his own astonishment, Shinichi lives to see another day, but now in the body of a 7-year-old child. Perfectly preserving his original intelligence, he hides his real identity from everyone, including his childhood friend Ran Mori and her father, private detective Kogoro Mori. To this end, he takes on the alias of Conan Edogawa, inspired by the mystery writers Arthur Conan Doyle and Rampo Edogawa. Detective Conan follows Shinichi, who as Conan starts secretly solving the senior Mori's cases from behind the scenes with his still exceptional sleuthing skills, while covertly investigating the organization responsible for his current state, hoping to reverse the drug's effects someday.
もはや体制に正義はなし得ない。
世の中に不満があるなら自分を変えろ。それが嫌なら耳と目を閉じ口をつぐんで孤独に暮らせ。
In the not-so-distant future, mankind has advanced to a state where complete body transplants from flesh to machine is possible. This allows for great increases in both physical and cybernetic prowess and blurring the lines between the two worlds. However, criminals can also make full use of such technology, leading to new and sometimes very dangerous crimes. In response to such innovative new methods, the Japanese government has established Section 9, an independently operating police unit which deals with such highly sensitive crimes. Led by Daisuke Aramaki and Motoko Kusanagi, Section 9 deals with such crimes over the entire social spectrum, usually with success. However, when faced with a new A-level hacker nicknamed the Laughing Man, the team is thrown into a dangerous cat and mouse game, following the hacker's trail as it leaves its mark on Japan. Justice and the enforcement of it has changed. In the 22nd century, Japan enforces the Sybil system, an objective means of determining the threat level of each citizen by examining their mental state for signs of criminal intent, known as their psychopaths. Inspectors uphold the law by subjugating, often with lethal force, anyone harboring the slightest ill will. Alongside them are enforcers, jaded inspectors that have become latent criminals granted relative freedom in exchange for carrying out the inspector's dirty work. Into this world steps Akane Tsunemori, a young woman with an honest desire to uphold justice. However, as she works alongside veteran enforcer Shinya Kogami, she soon learns that the Sybil system's judgments are not as perfect as her fellow inspectors assume. With everything she has known turned on its head, Akane wrestles with the question of what justice truly is and whether it can be upheld through the use of a system that may be already corrupt.
我々は人の命を救う以前に学級の徒。そうだろ？
あんなやつ死んだ方がマシだ。
入るわよ。
Dr. Kenzo Tenma, an elite neurosurgeon recently engaged to his hospital's director's daughter, is well on his way to ascending the hospital hierarchy. That is, until one night a seemingly small event changes Dr. Tenma's life forever. While preparing to perform surgery on someone, he gets a call from the hospital director telling him to switch patients and instead perform life-saving brain surgery on a famous performer. His fellow doctors, fiancé and a hospital director applaud his accomplishment, but because of the switch, a poor immigrant worker is dead, causing Dr. Tenma to have a crisis of conscience. So when a similar situation arises, Dr. Tenma stands his ground and chooses to perform surgery on the young boy Johann Liebert instead of the town's mayor. Unfortunately, this choice leads to serious ramifications for Dr. Tenma, losing his social standing being one of them. However, with the mysterious death of the director and 2 other doctors, Dr. Tenma's position is restored. With no evidence to convict him, he is released and goes on to attain the position of hospital director. 9 years later, when Dr. Tenma saves the life of a criminal, his past comes back to haunt him when he comes face to face with a monster he operated on. He must now embark on a quest of pursuit to make amends for the havoc spread by the one he saved. A Shinigami, as a god of death, can kill any person provided they see their victim's face and write their victim's name in a notebook called a death note. One day, Ryuk, bored by the Shinigami lifestyle and interested in seeing how a human would use a death note, drops one into the human realm. High school student and prodigy Light Yagami stumbles upon the death note and, since he deplores the state of the world, tests the deadly notebook by writing a criminal's name in it. When the criminal dies immediately following the experiment with the death note, Light is greatly surprised and quickly recognizes how devastating the power that has fallen into his hands could be. With this divine capability, Light decides to extinguish all criminals in order to build a new world where crime does not exist and people worship him as God. Police, however, quickly discover that a serial killer is targeting criminals and consequently try to apprehend the culprit. To do this, the Japanese investigators count on an assistance of the best detective in the world, a young and eccentric man known only by the name of L.